everyone, and welcome to Live Friday. So we're going to, I see it's projecting exactly backwards. So just to let you know what we're going to do for this Live Friday demo, we're going to first do some intros. We're going to talk about gluten-full versus gluten-free pastas. We're going to do some coffee roasting and work with emulsifiers and animal versus vegetable, all in about 30 minutes. So let's go ahead and start with the intros. So here we go. Everybody would just step into frame and introduce themselves, please. Yep. Emily, you want to start?
Okay. Hi, I'm Evelise. I am a PhD student in Dr. Harris's lab, and I'll be helping out on Fridays.
All right. Sophia?
Hello, I'm Sophia, and I'm a summer scholar here.
All right, Emily.
I just met him.
For sure.
Hey, hello, I'm Lina Arroyo. I'm a postdoctoral researcher, and I hope you have fun today in these 6 weeks.
All right, so you could.
Hi, I'm one of master's students of Dr. Harris lab, and I am one of the TAs. Hope you will have fun.
All right, Ruth.
Hi, I'm Ruth, off to the side, admitting people. Glad you're here.
Hey there, and I'm Dr. Keith Harris. We're so glad to have you for this Live Friday demo. So we're going to go ahead and get everything started, and we'll get the coffee machine, the coffee roaster going so that it's ready to start roasting. So I'm going to go ahead and just show you that we have about 200 grams worth of coffee, and that is a Colombian coffee, and we're going to take that coffee and get the machine ready. And as soon as we get that finished, we are going to start with a pasta demo. All right, so let me get this over here and get the machine set up. All right, so first thing we have to do is warm up the coffee roaster. So that takes a few minutes to get going, but luckily it will tell us with very annoying loud beeping noises that it's ready. So when we hear that, we're going to put the coffee into the roaster. But for now, we're going to switch over and talk a little bit about pasta with Emelise.
Hello. So here we have 30 grams of regular pasta, and we're going to boil to 2 different times, 1 to 14 minutes and 1 to 8 minutes. And then we can look at the difference. So the longer you boil the pasta, of course, like the softer it gets. So put in the chat what your predictions are for what these pastas are going to look like. And we also have some gluten-free pastas on the other side with my friend over here. Tell them what you're doing.
Yeah, so here is the gluten-free pasta. It's made from white rice flour and brown rice flour, and we will boil it for like 9 minutes. And this one is made from cauliflower and pea protein, so we will boil it for 7 minutes.
So again, in the chat, put your predictions about what you think is going to happen to all of these pastas at all of these different cook times.
So Emily, do you want to give us a macronutrient breakdown on what's important for pasta in terms of macronutrients?
Like carbohydrates?
And protein.
Yes, carbohydrates and proteins. Oh, fun fact. So you don't actually put oil in your pasta water to like keep it from sticking. It's because it doesn't allow for the protein matrix to climb up your pot. And then, so yes, oil your pasta. It's just not for non-stick. All right, we're gonna wait till these boil the pasta in. I think you got it.
Yeah.
Boil right there. Yeah.
So a little bit about pasta. If you are a pasta enthusiast, you know that durum semolina flour is what makes really good quality like spaghetti. However, that's made out of wheat. And so that's why we've got the gluten-free alternatives. We're going to see how well they hold up in terms of the water holding capacity that carbohydrates are known for. So each of these pastas has plenty of carbohydrate to hold the water to plump up the pasta, right? And then the protein is what's going to provide the matrix to help it stick together. Some of you may be familiar with egg noodles. That's again another source of protein that really helps those noodles stay together and keep that little curl, like if you have curly noodles. Yeah, so protein and carbs are at work here in these pastas to really make them what you enjoy.
All right, so did we mention what weights of pasta that we are actually adding? Because as science nerd, we measure everything carefully. We have a certain weight of pasta that's equal for all of these. So what is the weight that they're starting with?
30 grams. And then
30
we're going to
grams.
weigh them after to see how much water we've absorbed.
All right, there we go.
So I gotta
We
pull
got one going and another ready to start.
Oh, you already got some.
I didn't read through my gloves. That's interesting to me. The pea protein and cauliflower option there that your Coon has is orange, and I don't know why I was expecting it to be green because
I think they also put lentils in it.
yeah, oh yes,
Yes.
okay, so the color may be coming from the lentils.
Yeah.
Yes, as Emily's correctly says. So
All right, so where are we on time? We are at 2 minutes, 55 seconds. All right,
About 7 minutes left on this one.
Okay.
And 13 and change left on this one. Oh, right in time for coffee.
we are ready to roast some coffee. So the annoying beeps mean that it's time to feed the coffee roaster. All right, so what I hope you can see is that these coffee beans are going to start out with a green appearance, and they are going to end up with a standard roasted coffee appearance. That is because there's an interaction between sugars and proteins with high heat, and that interaction is Maillard browning. That is my favorite chemical reaction of all time. The reason is it makes coffee what it is, it makes chocolate what it is, toast, Cinnabon, almost anything you can think of that is baked or fried or roasted or toasted has to do with this particular chemistry of sugars and proteins together. So what we're going to do is take this from that green stage to a light to medium roast, and you may actually be able to hear this. It actually makes a slight popping sound when we're at this very light roast stage. All right, so we're going to let that go, and that'll take a little bit of time. I'll walk you through the various stages as we go. All right, back to pasta. Let's see, where are we on time?
This one's still got about 5 minutes,
5
and then we
minutes.
can pull it off and
I
weigh.
did that 4 minutes.
4 minutes. All right. Well,
Ooh, and then this is the protein matrix that we were talking about. You can see all of this foam here. Sometimes if it's boiling over and you don't have any oil on hand, sometimes you can pour a little bit of cooler water into it just to have less of a mess to clean up. But just like, again, a little bit of oil keeps it from climbing up and then boiling over. Probably boiling straight up.
All right, while we're waiting on that, I just wanted to show the setup of another demo. So what we have here for the emulsifiers demo is water and oil. And we have water, egg yolk and oil, and we have water, lecithin, and oil. And so the question for the chat is, which of these will separate the fastest and which of these will separate the slowest? Water and oil, water plus egg yolk plus oil, and water plus lecithin plus oil. Which do you think is going to separate the slowest and which do you think is going to separate the fastest? So let us know in the chat what you think.
Great. Water and oil, each of these has 15 milliliters of water and 15 milliliters of oil. So water and oil, so just put it together. And tap it off. This one is going to be the water, oil, and egg yolk. There's the oil. And egg yolk. So this always reminds me of like Caesar salad dressing, but the egg yolk is still intact. So we're gonna have to shake it down, but we can do that in a minute. Lecithin, which is an emulsifier, and we can have this from egg yolks, or we can have it from a more vegan friendly source, which this is from sunflower. It also, you can find it in soy. So if you need an emulsifier, you can definitely get one that's not animal based. So here's my water. Give it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Okay, 17 official fast counts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 official fast counts. And lecithin and oil. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. I think I counted faster that time. Official counts. All right. So here we have a tasty salad dressing that some of you may have enjoyed. No advertisement here. You can find many different salad dressings that would have the same or similar ingredients. Probably not the same, right? But this particular salad dressing, look at it. It has particulates suspended. And it's always going to stay together. You don't need to shake it up before you pour it on your salad. What about this one? So this one is supposed to separate, right? This isn't regular like jalapeno lime vinaigrette dressing. Isn't that delicious sounding? It's got particulates down here that are separated. So what happens when we shake it up? They stay suspended. Okay, so the thing that's helping these stay suspended, we've already talked about in Reni's project this week, is xanthan gum. So it works in food systems to help things stay suspended. In this particular application, it's produced by bacteria. So this will eventually separate out, whereas this won't. It also has xanthan gum, but it has some egg yolk in there as well. And that helps with the stability of this emulsion. Okay, so what is an emulsion? It's just two dissimilar, like a polar and a non-polar food components. You put them together, the emulsion is something that's making them come together with two dissimilar phases. All right, so oil and water, we are already seeing a little bit of separation. Got to turn it the right way for the camera. This is the egg yolk and oil and water, and I don't see any separation there yet. And here is the lecithin and water, and it's a little bit foamy actually. I shook it hard on purpose, but yeah, it's not separating either, is it? Okay, I think we have a lot of action going on at the pasta stations. I don't know if they're ready to say anything or not.
All right, let's step over to the pasta station and see what's going on. We are gonna get weights for, are these the 8 minutes?
This
7 minutes.
7 minutes.
7 minutes?
And it's pea protein.
Okay, pea protein. So
Yeah,
we started with 30 grams. What do we have now?
66.9.
All right, so 67 grams. All right,
And this is the gluten-free one. It's got to 73.1,
all right.
starting from 30 grams.
Here is the. Excuse me, I mixed up my trays. I looked down, I was like, that was not 14 minutes. Here's the 8-minute pasta. Again, we started with 30 grams and now we're at 67.3 grams after 8 minutes of boiling, and we still have about 4.5 minutes on the 14-minute pasta, and then we can weigh that out too.
Okay, so at 30 grams on the pea protein pasta going to 67 grams fully cooked. What was the other weight?
70.
What?
70.
73, and that was the gluten free?
Yeah.
Okay.
And you can see that it's like just past al dente. I'm not sure if the camera's gonna pick it up. No, it won't. But the center, you can tell that the center still has a
Still-
little bit of,
Still has a little ways to go.
yes.
All right, so while we're waiting for the remainder of the pasta demo to get set up, let's talk about our final demo, the competition between animal versus vegetable. So we'll take it over to Lena for the setup.
Thank you, guys. So we're gonna make our competition today. So we have white eggs here, and we have aquafaba. Do you know what is aquafaba? Okay, so it's like the water that we got from chickpeas. So we have the same amount of chickpea water, and we have the same amount of white eggs. And we're gonna make the competition. So we're gonna set up the timer, and we will see who's gonna win. So let's go.
All right, Lena, which one is foaming faster?
But also, my texture.
Okay, so vegetable is in the lead currently. All right, while we're waiting for that to happen, let's see if there's any progress over at the pasta station.
1 minute left.
1 minute left to pasta. All right. And back to animal versus vegetable. So egg whites, definitely foaming. Aquafaba, definitely foaming. But who will win this competition?
All right, while we're waiting for the results of this competition, we are going to step over to the coffee roaster because those coffee beans have gone from green to blonde roast. If anyone orders blonde roast espresso at Starbucks, that is the stage of blonde roast. And Emily's just raised her hand and said, yes, that is the stage that she wants. We are now very quickly moving from blonde roast to light roast. As the Maillard browning process occurs, it is logarithmically increasing, so faster and faster. So we're going to go quickly from blonde to light roast, and then from light to medium. So we will check back in with the coffee as it moves through the stages. All right, I think we have a winner. Lena, who is the winner?
White egg. Yes, animal.
Egg white. Animal appears to have won, but
Oh, we have.
vegetable is still giving it a go. Here we go. Let's look at vegetable.
I'm gonna take a couple minutes.
All right. While we're waiting on the results of that, we're going to check back in with the emulsifier experiments. So if we look at water versus oil, what we see is a significant separation with water versus oil. So definitely not a good stable emulsion. If we check in with the water, oil, and egg yolk, then we see that it's still very much an emulsion. So very much working water, egg yolk, and oil. And if we check in with the lecithin, we see that the lecithin, sunflower lecithin in this case, is working fairly well, just slight separation at the bottom. And as Ruth may have pointed out, it is important to point out that lecithin can come from egg yolk, or it can come from sunflower or soy. So it has a variety of sources. All right, back to the coffee machine, which is requiring attention at this point.
This is the 14-minute pasta. We have 78.7 grams from 30 grams, and which is still, what is that, like 10 more grams-ish? I can't remember, like about
An additional 10 grams.
than the 8-minute pasta.
It's actually maybe more like 12 grams.
It's actually like 12 grams more.
Well, yes, it's a value of 30 grams, 10, you know, it's already gained, it's doubled in size, right? Yes. So,
It doubled in size at 8 minutes, and
yes.
I was talking about the difference between, I couldn't see. This one, again, it's difficult to see, but the middle, you can definitely tell is a lot more done than the 8-minute pasta, like almost mushy. Like I don't think it'd be very nice to chew on that. You might not have to chew on that.
You want to do a finger test of the pasta types and tell us what you think about the all the different alternative pastas, which ones feel like you might like to bite down on a dish of that, and which ones feel, or do they feel the same? This is unofficial, right?
They
All right,
don't even
texture
look-
analysis in progress. Here we go.
So this one definitely has lentil. It feels like it's still firm, but like it would crumble a little bit. So oh, just bounces back. Yeah, it'd be like gummy and crumbly at the same time. Like it just kind of mush it and it doesn't, it splits and crumbles.
Breaking news, we're going to step over to the coffee machine because it is currently doing the first crack, which is the border between light roast and medium roast. As you can also see, potentially, we're having a bit of steam and smoke come out the top. This is normal as part of the Maillard browning reaction in coffee roasting. We are now rapidly passing through medium roast stage and headed towards dark roast, which is our final destination for this coffee roasting today. All right, let's see. how are we doing over at the animal versus vegetable station?
Well, they work very well. And so actually I can do it, but I don't know if I can do these like.
Lena,
Yes.
she's put it over her head. It actually works.
I'm not sure if I'm gonna do that with this.
Lena, do not put that over your head.
No.
You put it over the other bowl though.
So it actually works pretty well, but now compare it with this one. And do you know why we use like aquafaba? It's because we have the same proteins that we can find in white eggs, in chickpeas and soybean. Yeah. Yeah. It's a nice foam. It's a nice foam, yes. Now
All-
compared to these ones. but
All right.
it worked.
So we're getting good foams out of both. And in this case, foaming is very much a function of protein. So we need good flexible proteins in order to make good foams. Egg whites do that. And in this case, these garbanzo or chickpea proteins will do that as well. And we get them to unfold by using shear, which is the purpose of the mixer. That mechanical mixing causes the proteins to unfold, wrap around bubbles, and that makes a foam. And as you can see, both do pretty well, but just somewhat different in terms of the foam texture. All right. So overall, appears that animal may have won the day, but we can make a pretty great foam with both animal and vegetable proteins. All right. Anything else from the pasta station?
Nope. I mean, unless you guys want to help clean up.
All right. I don't think they want to help clean up. So we'll go over to the coffee station. So the coffee has now finished roasting. It automatically is placed into a circular pan to cool rapidly. The reason is that if we do not cool it rapidly, it will keep on roasting past the point where we want it to be. So the coffee has now undergone that Maillard Browning reaction between sugars and proteins. And we are later on going to try some of that coffee just to make sure that it tastes okay. And then I'll let my sister know, since she was the one that bought the green coffee for me, how that coffee tastes. So looks like we're going to be enjoying some coffee this afternoon. I'm going to take that coffee off of the roaster just to give you a bit of a closer look at it. So hang on just 1 second.
So, Dr. Harris, why is it brown when it was green?
All right, so as we were talking about, Ruth, this is that Maillard Browning reaction in progress. So we can not only see, but we can also smell the results of Maillard Browning. It's what produces those wonderful roasty, toasty notes that we get in coffee and chocolate and toast and other wonderful products that are related to this particular reaction. So that reaction is complete, and we're going to finish up by asking you a question about coffee, and that is, you may or may not have noticed, but coffee bags have what I like to call a belly button. Why is that there? Why is that there? Do you know what that's for? Do you know what that's for? Why do we have that valve on coffee bags? Do you know? If you know, put that in the chat. If you don't know, we'll be happy to talk about it. All right. Crickets on the chat. Oh, hey, there we go. That is a very, very good and very close guess. So so the role of this particular item on the bag is actually not to let air out, it's to let CO2 out. So the reaction that occurs, Maillard Browning, actually produces not only wonderful aromas, but CO2. And as Jessica said, it does allow us as consumers to smell the roasted coffee. So that's one benefit of it. But the real purpose of it is to let CO2 out, which is a byproduct of this Maillard reaction. If we didn't have this, these bags would blow up like balloons. And that's the reason that this is there for that purpose, is to let that CO2 out. All right, well, let's finish just talking about all the stuff that we saw today. So let's go ahead and go to the pasta station and talk about what we saw today. What happened with the weight of these different pastas? All right, so I hear the sound cut out as I was summarizing. All right, so just very quickly, summary. We today talked about the idea of starch gelatinization in pasta. That's what caused that weight gain of the material, starting from 30 grams up to almost 80 grams. So that was just the incorporation of water into that starch material. And we have to use a lot of heat to get that to happen. And so that's why we have to boil that. So that was the first demo that we did. The second demo that we set up was the coffee demo. So that took a while, but we added the green coffee beans to the roaster. Dry heat caused the proteins and sugars to react together in a Maillard browning reaction. And ultimately, we ended up with a medium dark roast, kind of a city roast, I would say. And that got us from 200 grams down to 170. So we lost water weight there. Then we talked about emulsifiers and the idea of using egg yolks, which contain lecithin. That's a naturally occurring emulsifier. And then we compared that to pure lecithin from sunflowers. So we can either use that pure ingredient, or we can use something that contains lecithin or other emulsifiers to make those oil and water combinations hold together. That's producing an emulsion. And as you notice, that took some shaking. That's that shear process. So lastly, we talked about animal versus vegetable, and that's the idea of using flexible proteins, because you have to have flexible proteins to make a foam. But we use flexible proteins from eggs and flexible proteins from garbanzo beans or chickpeas. And so the idea then is that with shear, with that mixing, we were able to mix a lot of air into those flexible proteins, and they wrapped around those bubbles and stabilized them. And that's why we have a foam at the end. So those were all of the demos. Just a very quick summary. Apology for the sound cutting out there at the end, but hopefully it was helpful in getting you some practical demos of some of the chemistry and the engineering and the microbiology that goes on with our foods. All right. Any other questions? Jessica, thank you so much. Thank you, Sohum. Appreciate it.